Hey guys, it's Shadowswalm. We're here for patch 3.12 notes for League of Legends. Let us jump right into things, shall we? So, going to be going over the champions as well as the items. I will put a link in the description down below so you guys can read the full patch notes. First things first, for those of you that use stuff like LOL Replay, all those fun programs, they might be causing League to crash. Just disable them until they fix those, because yeah, it might cause a lot of crashes. You've been forewarned. Moving on. General. We took sight and vision wards into the shop and for a model and texture upgrade. The wards now function the exact same way they did before, but look much prettier doing so. We've also revamped the range minion attack particles. The new particles have trails that show the direction they're traveling in, giving players more information when quickly looking for minion aggro indicators. So you can now tell if your range minions are attacking the enemy champion, they can tell if they're attacking you, etc., etc. Skillshots. Context for this one. Skillshot missiles fired from brush or from the fog of war sometimes didn't register on the receiving player's screen until they've landed, leading to some sad and bewildered champions. This fix ensures missiles are registered faster, giving players a chance to react and realize that they are being attacked. So skill shots fired from Fog of War should appear on the enemy screen sooner if their champion is in the path of the missile. So you'll no longer get that Ezreal Q to the face from nowhere, stuff like that. That's good, glad they fixed that. Champions. Jinx. Jinx Loose Count is in this build, but she will be turned on at a later date. Okay, no big deal. Cassiopeia. The cost of Cassiopeia's Petrifying Gaze is too damn high. To remedy this, we've reduced its mana cost at all levels to bring it more in line with other ultimate abilities. So the mana cost for Petrifying Gaze is now 100, up from 2 minutes. Yeah, or up from 120, 160, 200. Don't know why I was thinking of 2 minutes, but whatever. So now it costs 100 mana at all ranks instead of 120, 160, 200 at their respective levels. Great, whatever, she had mana problems before. They've fixed that, now people won't be complaining as much about her. Garen, visual upgrade. I'll put the link in the description down below for that. Let's move on. Katarina. Death Lotus now deals more damage at later levels and has been kicked up a notch with overall higher AP and AD ratios. We've increased the channel time of Death Lotus and removed its cast time delay, meaning Katarina's overall damage should remain roughly the same, if not higher, even if interrupted. The slightly reduced cooldown on Death Lotus means that at rank 3, it will take exactly 3 kills or assists to reset her ultimate. The context for this. We wanted to refocus more power and gameplay into Katarina's Death Lotus by increasing its high threat damage. Ultimately, we think Katarina is more fun and unique when both she and her opponents are focused on executing or stopping Death Lotus. While the increased channel time might seem like a nerf if interrupted early, since the ability's damage over time, we've removed the cast time delay to accommodate. So Death Lotus no longer has a cast time delay of 1/4 second. Total damage has been increased to 400, 575, 750, with a 2.5 AP ratio and 3.75 AD ratio from 400, 500, 600, with a 2.0 AP ratio and a 3.0 AD ratio. The channel time has been increased to 2.5 seconds, up from 2, and the cooldown has been reduced to 60, 52.5, and 45 seconds from 60, 55, 50. So again, overall, at level 1, it should actually hit harder if you get the full ult off. This is in theory at least. Level 1 ult will hit harder than it previously did, just because of the AP and AD scaling. Again, we'll have to see this in play, but I'm ready and waiting for this. I've wanted that change to Katarina for quite some time. Glad they finally put it in. Lucien. Piercing Light's hitbox width has been reduced slightly but it now leads the target when cast on an enemy champion. When Lucien kills someone with the first shot of Light Slinger, Lucien will now always try to find another target, prioritizing the closest enemy unit slain to the target, or to the slain target. Context: Lucien's piercing light can sometimes be sidestepped by its primary target without them even trying to do so. To help the ability land, we've added a leading mechanic to Lucien's piercing light. This means that if the target just keeps moving, oblivious to the ability cast, Lucien is now practically guaranteed to hit. However, the ability will be slightly easier to juke, meaning going from side to side, for players who've got their eye out for incoming abilities. Finally, a bug in Lucien's passive meant that Lightslinger's second shot could sometimes hit a different target. We've decided to embrace the bug and properly support it as a feature. Now, if Lucien's target dies before the second shot of Lightslinger round lands, Lucien will always try to find another target, prioritizing the closest enemy unit to the slain target. There are certain filters in place to prevent disrupting Lucien's last hitting or accidentally hitting an enemy champion under the tower. General for him: updated Lucien's recommended items. His base mana regen increased to 7 from 6, and mana regen gained per level increased to 0.7 from 0.65. So overall, his early game should be a little easier, scaling better into the mid to late game of the game, obviously. Lightslinger. When Lightslinger's target dies before the second shot hits, the second shot will now always attempt to find another target. And Piercing Light. Laser hitbox width been reduced to 100 units from 120, and Piercing Light now leads the target by 80 units when cast on an enemy champion. So overall, if the target is just running away, not trying to juke left and right, your Piercing Light should always hit them, and if they are moving from left to right, you'll have a harder time. That's what I got from that. Also, it's a nice little bug that they actually kind of purposely capitalized on. That's good. Gonna have to see how this scales into the game, and just what this means for Lucien. Olaf. This is all too much to read. I read through this like 8 different times. You might be telling my voice is kind of going out here. Realistically, they just did a complete overhaul on Olaf, and I'll just go through his abilities, alright? I'm just gonna let you know now, he's a whole different ball game now. So, for general, for him, base mana reduced to 235 from 270, so you gotta be a little more mana conscious. For Undertow, base damage reduced to 70, 115, 160, 205, 250, from 80, 125, 170, 215, 260. The slow percentage been increased to 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, from 24, 28, 32, 36, and 40. The slow duration increased to reduced to 1 to 2 seconds based on the distance traveled, from 2.5 flat seconds. The slow no longer decays, however. There's been a minimum distance of 400 added for the axes. The axes will now stick to walls and structures only if they would land in impassable terrain. And the axes now make jungle monsters ignore unit collision, so that way Olaf can go ahead and pick up the axes in the jungle if he's in the jungle. Overall, for his Q, you have a shorter duration, shorter slow duration, higher slow percentage, less damage, but it no longer decays. The axes can also stick into walls and structures if they would go out of balance, for instance. Vicious Strikes. Mana cost reduced to 30 at all ranks, from 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Now grants 20, 35, 50, 65, 80% attack speed. Now provides 1% extra healing for every 2.5% health that Olaf is missing. The attack damage has been removed, and the spell vamp has been removed, but the lifesteal has been retained. So overall, you'll be able to attack faster with Vicious Strikes, and in theory, again, this is in theory, get the same lifesteal that you would have had with the spell vamp. So in theory, you should still be good. Again, this is all in theory. We'll have to see how it happens in practice. Reckless Swing. Cooldown increased to 12, 11, 10, 9, 8 seconds at respective levels from 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, again, at respective levels. Damage cost, or damage reduced to 70, 115, 160, 205, 250 from 100, 160, 200, 280, 340, but there's been a 0.4 total attack damage ratio added. So, yes, the base damage has been nerfed, but there's been an AD ratio implemented on your total AD. Not base, not bonus. Total. So, that's good. It means your Reckless Swing can hit just as hard, if not harder, than it used to. The health cost is equal to 40% of total damage dealt. The ratio has been unchanged. The health cost is now refunded if it kills a target. So say you kill an enemy champion with Reckless Swing. Oh look, there's all the health back that you just used on that Reckless Swing. You now have it right back. So NBD if you kill a target with it. Basic attacks lower the cooldown of Reckless Swing by 1 second. So in theory, you can actually Reckless Swing more often than you could previously. Again, this is in theory, not in practice. In practice, it might be the same, might be as often as you could previously. We will have to see. Ragnarok. Cooldown increased or changed to 120, 180 from 100 at all ranks. So second rank, the cooldown is the same. At level 3, the cooldown is 80 seconds. The mana cost has been removed. Ragnarok now provides 10, 20, and 30, again at respective levels, armor and magic resist passively. Activating Ragnarok now removes the bonus armor and magic resist passive to grant 40, 60, or 80 bonus attack damage while active, again at respective levels. Olaf now turns red while Ragnarok is active, and crowd control immunity has been retained. Overall, the changes for Olaf are to make him, still valuable in team fights, still valuable for pushing all of that stuff, but to add counterplay. Before, if Olaf got ahead, he stayed ahead by a wide, by a nice green mile. Now he actually has, some form of being dealt with. So, glad for this change. It had to happen. Let's see how it happened. Let's see how it changes him in game. There's going to be people saying, oh, he's OP. There are going to be people saying, oh, he needs a nerf. Or, oh, he needs a buff. Let's just see how he scales, in the next few weeks and few months. Okay? Before you go casting judgment that he's OP or underpowered, let's see how he scales over time. If he's just as good as he used to be or even better, great. But don't say he needs a nerf on day 2 of this rework, okay? Don't say he needs a buff on day 2 of this rework. Learn to play his new style. Then say, oh, he needs, he's right where he needs to be, or he needs a nerf, he needs a buff. Wait a couple months, then see. He will, people will learn how to play him. Let them learn how to play him. Let people make guides for the new Olaf. Learn how to play him yourself before you say, oh, he needs a nerf or he needs a buff. Just wait, okay? Moving on. Rise. Summary, we've improved the responsiveness of Rise's basic attacks. Additionally, we've increased his base movement speed along with Desperate Power's movement speed bonus. The context, we like Rise's current direction as a mid-range face-melting mobile caster, and these changes represent the further iteration on the same path. Having additional base movement speed and a more responsive basic attack will also help out his laning phase. I know I just read that kind of fast, but this is what you need to know for Rise. His auto attacks are more responsive. He gets 5 more movement speed, just base. He now goes up to 340 movement speed from 335. His Desperate Power now increases movement speed at 80 or 280 at all ranks from 60, 70, 80. So now if he pops his ultimate, without boots at level 6, he will have 420 movement speed instead of just instead of 395. So be aware of his movement speed boost, okay? Be aware of that, and you should be good. They also adjust his recommended items to incorporate Spirit Visage instead of Banshee's Veil. People still probably get Banshees because, hey, it's, free spell shield. Shen. Previously, Shen's Shadow Dash reduced the damage of basic attacks as well as physical attacks, meaning like Garen's Q, for instance. It now only reduces basic attacks, not physical damage in general. That's the biggest change with Shen. No big deal. Just now Shen's taunt reduces your basic attacks, meaning your auto attacks, not all physical attacks. Alright? That's all. Thresh, they changed his hook. His hook now has a longer cooldown. The cooldown for it, and this is their justification, I agree with it. Thresh, used to get just uber freaking lucky, and people just, hook as a zoning tool instead of, hey, we want to actually do damage to you, so get the hell over here. That's, also they changed the flay to where you actually have to wait for your auto attacks to completely stop to gain that wind up effect of flay. But just listen to the changes, you decide for yourself if they're OP or not. Death Sentence. Cooldown increased to 20, 18, 16, 14, 12 at their respective ranks from 18, 16.5, 15, 13.5, 12 seconds. Again, at respective levels. The cooldown now is reduced by 3 seconds if Death Sentence strikes an enemy. Meaning, if you grab that hook on anything, that cooldown for your hook is now reduced by 3 seconds. So CDR is valuable on Thresh all over again. Flay. Passive basic attack wind up mechanic. Damage now only grows when Thresh's basic attack cooldown completes. Meaning, you auto attack once, wait 7-8 seconds, then auto attack again instead of, auto attack. Half a second later, auto attack. Half a second later, auto attack. You no longer gain that passive from Flay. It's now, look, you actually have to wait to get that passive from Flay. Biggest changes they did with the minor changes and fixes. Karthus, his debuff that shows on enemies, it now matches the impact delay. Teemo's traps now are worth 10 gold, and Yorick's ghouls are now worth 5 gold. Phage, the combined cost has been increased to 475 from 375. The total cost has been increased to 100, or increased by 100, so it's now 1350 from 1250. The rage mechanic of Phage has the movement speed bonus is now halved for ranged champions. Trinity Force, the goal has been increased, or the total cost increased by 100 to reflect the 100 gold increase for Phage's combined cost. And the passive from Phage, the rage mechanic, it's been halved for ranged champions. And Spirit of the Elder Lizard, fix a bug causing items to deal less damage than intended. That's a lot. Also, one last thing on maps and game modes. Summoner's Rift context. Okay, I'm reading this verbatim, meaning word for word. Context. Turns out towers have some pretty complex mechanics. Instead of forcing players to earn cartography degrees to figure them out, we've decided to best add items to towers that explain their nuances. Towers now have an inventory that can be seen on them. There's been no change to how the towers actually work. Each item in the tower explains a specific tower mechanic. So what? You could not tell the tower attacks you from a range. You could not tell the tower attacks you if you attack an enemy champion while they're underneath the tower. You couldn't tell the tower sees stealth. You couldn't tell how far the stealth range was. You're telling me none of that was, just common knowledge to any sort of MOBA player? Put that in the damn tutorial that people have to go through to get out of level 1. please do that. That'll help immensely. All the other changes down here are for Twisted Treeline and Crystal Scar. They changed the way the game menus work in game. They revamped the trading system. And yeah, I'm going to put the link in the description down below. You guys can read all of this. You can see the Garen visual change, all of that stuff. You can read everything else at your leisure. So go ahead and click that link in the description down below if you want to go read all of that. I'm going to tell you what you need to know right now. They removed the more options section from the in-game menu. It's all the stuff that was in there has gone to their respective areas. SmartCast is now renamed QuickCast. There have been several improvements to the changes. You no longer have to save your changes before the sound, HUD scale, chat scale come into effect. You can actually preview them without saving them. What else? Oh yeah, there's a new slider to adjust all video and graphical settings to an overall quality level, and the time to switch between resolutions or window modes has been drastically reduced. So that's all there, and that is it, guys. Again, click the link in the description down below to read every single thing that I covered or did not cover. Read it at your leisure. The skin change, not a huge issue. I'm not even going to go over it. So, yeah, guys, that's it. My name has been Shadowswalm, and as always, I will talk to you all next time.